Hey everyone, it's Melody with Design by Melody here. I am sharing my third layout with my November kit. This layout came together in an hour and it actually was pretty quick considering I spent a portion of that time stitching my title. I started with this fancy pants paper in the background and it's kind of a teal wood grain and I love this paper. It matches Kaylin's shirt in these photos perfectly. So let me tell you a little bit of background about the pictures and then, you'll see the page come together as well. So these are 6 small photos. They are approximately 3x4. I trim them down a bit. I print my photos from Snapfish with a white border and I print 2 to a page and they're printed on 4x6 photo paper. So they're a little bit smaller once you have the white border. And the reason I trimmed it off, and I know this probably looks ridiculous, so I trimmed it off and then now I'm rematting it on white. Well, whenever you trim them apart, there's a very thin border between the photos and then a larger border on the outside. And I just wanted it to be even completely all around between all of the photos. So that's what I'm using. I'm actually using the back of I believe this is the back of, oh no, this is just a white piece of cardstock. Sometimes I use the back of some single-sided pattern paper if I don't really care for the pattern paper. Sometimes I'll use the back of it just to not waste any paper. And I'm using a mixture of my trimmer and my scissors because this trimmer, I need a new blade. I'm like, seriously, need a new blade. But it's the best thing to cut my photos with because it gives me an even border to then use my scissors for. So I'm just working with what I got here. I've been to Michael's probably 10 times and I haven't bought any blades, replacement blades, and I really should because it's starting to leave like little fuzzy things on the side when I cut with it. So anyways, troubles. I have troubles apparently. All right, so there are the 6 photos. So they kind of go in sequential order. The top left is the first one, and it goes across the top line. And it's Kaylin getting ready to get his face painted. He's really nervous, so Ernest gives him a kiss and tells him it'll be okay. And then that's the middle top photo. And then the one to the right is where he gets the first part of the face painting on, and he's just like, I don't like this. And then you'll see the bottom row where it's progressing through the face painting. He turns into a little tiger and he actually loves it in the end, but the process was a little uncomfortable for him. I'm taking this rub-on. This is a navy rub-on, but I put it on a piece of white cardstock and it's so dark it almost looks black. So I'm using it almost like a black element in this layout. I honestly don't think that you can even tell it's not black. So I'm going to cut off the little banner shapes just because it's too wide. And it's just going to say, let's do this. And then have a flare that says hello world up there as well. I did put 2 small white doilies in the top left and the bottom right. And I kind of wanted your eye to flow from one to the other, which is the reason why I did that. And then here what I'm doing is my title is So Nervous. And I'm just using these basil templates. They have the alphabet on them, the uppercase and the lowercase. And so I'm just using the lowercase one to, not stamp, what do you call that? Mark the dots in there. And then I'll use my piercing tool to actually punch out those dots and do my stitching. Well, my piece of paper wasn't long enough and I spelled it wrong the first time. So I'm going to do this again. And I was just making sure that my paper was long enough. Instead of actually doing the dots this time, I am just going to punch. And I did draw a line so I can kind of keep my letters lined up on that line. And I'm going to put it in 2 different places. It's going to say, So Nervous is what it says. And I'm using some black embroidery floss. And what I do, so this is like 6-ply embroidery floss. I believe that's what normal flosses are. I believe that's kind of your standard. Not 100% sure because I do have some I've noticed in my stash that are 5-ply. And now some of the things that I've had, some of these flosses that I have in my stash are, we could probably say 20 years old because I probably was cross-stitching when I was about 11. And that's when I started collecting. This is the same like little kit I had since I was 11 or so, which is kind of embarrassing, but hey, that tells you I use my stuff. I don't throw it away. I use it. But anyways, sidetracked. So some of the ones I have are 5-ply, but I have been separating it here recently into 3 strands just because it's easier to work with. It's not as thick, but you also get a really good even like line, especially when I was writing this text. And I like this. I got this. This is from Basil, like I said, these little templates. And I got them at Archivers years ago. They were on clearance, I think, for like $1 or $2. I didn't know what I was going to do with them, but I thought they would come in handy at some point, and they have. I mean, I really like them. They are simple. So like the R, I think, is only like 6 holes. The E probably was like 10 or so, but it's a very easy way to follow. You know what I mean? Like sometimes they're so complicated that you have so much back and forth, and it's really kind of difficult. So I really like these. I'm sure you could probably find them somewhere. Again, Basil made them, and they're just alphabet templates. That's all they are. I mean, and they're for stitching. You can't really, I guess you could ink between the holes if you wanted to, but it's not going to be very visible. It really is for stitching. And I just secured my stitching or my threads on the back with some washi tape. And I wasn't really sure how I was going to put this on there quite yet, so I knew I was going to cut it apart. So I'm trying to keep the washi tape within the letters themselves just because I'm not sure how narrow I'm going to cut this. I'm going to cut it pretty much right above and below where the letters are, so probably about 1 inch high, and it's going to be just to the end of the letters. And then I'm going to mat it on some white and gray polka dot paper. I think it's gray with white polka dots, and it's from my 6x6 pad that I pulled out to go with this set. I'm really liking the kit this month. I always do, I start with my favorite papers and I go from there, which this wood grain paper I think is one of my most favorite. This is where I'm cutting this down. I haven't even done the sew part yet. I just have nervous. So I'm trying to figure out exactly where it's going to go, and it seems a little big for me, so I'm going to trim it down a little bit more. And because I did the washi tape right around the letters, that's fine. It's not going to mess it up at all. So I have just a little piece of scrap white paper that I'm using here. I'm trying to use up every little bit that I have. I really try not to have a whole lot of waste. Even my little bits of pattern paper that are scraps, I try to keep them just in case I need to use them later on. Near the end of the layouts, I tend to start doing more scrappy type layouts where I'm using scraps and little bits and pieces. So having those little bits and pieces that you cut off of paper is usually pretty good. If it's if it's just a little trimmed piece, or if it's just a little bit of white cardstock, I usually throw that away because there's no real point in keeping that. I have so much. One of these days I'm going to do a room tour for you guys. I thought that would be nice to be able to see my workspace, my craft space. Let me know if that's something you guys might be interested in. I have an album flip that just went up. My 2013 album flip went up just a couple days ago, and that was requested a few months ago by someone. So let me know if that's something you guys would like. I'm always interested to hear what you would like, and I'm always happy to accommodate if I can. Now, true to my fashion, I am trimming out the doilies. Not that I don't have probably 20 more in my stash, but I'm trimming off the parts that you can't see. That way I can use it somewhere else. I'm just layering my Let's Do This banner up here and adding my flare. And this is the basis of my layout. I'm going to get these photos all adhered down, and this is pretty much how my layout starts. I don't overly embellish this. The photos make it pretty busy on its own just because they take up so much real estate on the page. And then I want the background paper to still be visible. Just trying to figure out exactly what I want to add, and this is where I'll pull out that paper. And I'm going to heat up my glue gun because there's a lot going on here. So I glue those down, but I'm going to end up using my hot glue gun a couple places here. And I thought about leaving it all as one block, and then I end up, and I do leave it as one block, but I trim around it to where it's not so big. And because I have that stitching on the back, it's just more secure when I add hot glue gun. And I have so many glue sticks that were like $1 for 800 sticks. That's what it seems like anyways. So I have so many of them, I might as well use them. And it is a pretty good adhesive. So I'm just going to glue that down. It's just going to be right here on top of this photo. And the photo is going to layer on top of it. It's going to go over the one to the left. And then the one right below it layers over top of it. Kind of flipping through my embellishments here. I'm just going to add a few. I'm going to add a little subtitle at the bottom. And then I'm going to add some journaling and some strips. And then a few little stickers and a few sequins. Just kind of fiddling around, seeing what I got. End up using these Doodlebug Design stickers, alphas in Lily White. And this is a really good set. It has 3 different types. It has a tile at the top. It has a circular, like button style alpha at the top, then a tile in the middle, and then an upper and lowercase actual cut letters at the bottom. They are pretty delicate though, so sometimes you have to be careful. But I've gotten a lot of use out of these. So what I put here is our baby tiger, because he's our baby and he's a little tiger. It's kind of hard to tell from these photos exactly what he is. I mean, obviously he has stripes, but you're trying to figure out what he is. He's a little tiger. And this is kind of one of those moments where you're like, oh, my baby's getting so big. That's kind of what it was, at least for me. Anyways, so I've got this little ticket that says kisses 25 cents, especially since I have a photo of Ernest kissing him at the top. I'm going to layer that here at the bottom. And then I also layered this little gray banner and then one that says sweet. And then I'm going to put the other end of this ticket and the other end of this gray, or the other end of a banner up here as well. And then I'm going to add a little sticker that says fave, and it's going to go right on that photo in the middle where Ernest and Kaylin are giving each other a kiss. And then I'm just kind of testing to see how I want to do my journaling, and doing these little journaling strips has kind of been a technique I've been using quite frequently here. So I'm just kind of writing it out, and I just put first time getting his face painted. I'm going to put this down here at the bottom. And then I'm going to add some sequins from a little ephemera pack. And they're quite dimensional, so I use my hot glue gun to add those as well. This was a very simple layout, but I really enjoy how it turned out. I really like the look of it. I think it might be my favorite so far. And I mean, I would probably venture to say it could be my favorite throughout the whole, all the layouts I do with my November kit, just because I really like it. Sometimes I'm like, it's okay. It's all right. But no, I really like this one. This is where I add that sticker that says fave. And I'm just going to add my sequins, just trying to figure out what else I want to add. And I'm going to add my sequins, and that's going to be it for the layout. I ask that you guys give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Also, please subscribe. I post at least 3 times a week. I do process videos most frequently. And then also have haul videos and kill a kit videos, and then, a number of other things. But subscribe so you can see how those, when all those videos are posted. I did play around with the idea of putting numbers on there, but I thought they were just a little too bulky. I really liked it, but I thought it was a little too bulky. So I'm going to end with these star sequins, and then that is it for this layout. Stay tuned to the end. You'll see some still photos, some closer photos of the layout. And then also I do a weekly blog post on my blog, just kind of recapping exactly what I did for the week on my YouTube channel. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me, and enjoy your day. Bye.